What does Director of Content Research do?
I help supervise, along with my immediate boss, the formative research and evaluations that we conduct for the Sesame Street resources that we create.
Why this particular topic, and what you and your colleagues looked at when you decided that autism is something that you would delve into?
There's a little bit of a story behind there. So I think the interest in approaching autism, the topic of autism, began, I think, because we had heard anecdotally from families who were writing in to Sesame that their children who were on the spectrum really liked the show. They loved the characters. And some of them were saying that they actually were using the show and the characters to help their children through, through some of the challenges that they were having, either by using the characters as models for helping their kids get through some of the daily routines, like brushing their teeth or washing their hands, or just using it as a reward, saying, well, if you do this, then we'll let you watch some Sesame Street shows. So that was sort of the initial impetus. And we were thinking, well, if parents were using it anyway, what could we do deliberately that would sort of, really serve the kids and on the spectrum and their parents? So we started exploring it, and we started talking to partners. And figuring out what we could create for these families. And around the same time, there was a lot more press around the prevalence of diagnoses and how it was really an incredible number of children who were getting diagnosed. And added to that was some press and some research around the fact that kids on the spectrum were more likely to be bullied. And that's a topic that Sesame has addressed before as well. And we thought that maybe, whereas initially we thought that we would focus specifically on families who have kids on the spectrum, perhaps we should also do something for the general population to help raise awareness, to increase acceptance. And so that's how sort of this initiative was born. And so it really grew from a focus on providing a tool for parents who have children on the spectrum, that of course the children would also enjoy. But it really grew to an initiative that would encompass everybody, the entire community.
So tell me about the initiative. What is the name, and what is its goal?
The initiative is called See Amazing in All Children. The reason we called it that has to really do with the goal. So the goals of I'm sorry, let me say that again.
It's okay.
The goals of the initiative are sort of twofold. One is to have a tool that parents with kids on the spectrum can use to help them through some of the challenges that they encounter, sometimes every day, but sometimes just doing daily routines, maybe going to birthday parties, brushing their teeth, washing their hands, providing a tool for that, but also in general to increase an understanding of what autism is, and acceptance of autism and children with autism. To do that, we highlight a couple of messages. One is that you should value differences. Sure, people are different, but that's what makes them special. Everybody's different in some way, everybody's unique, and we're all amazing in our own way. And the other goal, and the other aspect to that goal, is that we also share lots of things in common. So while we're all different, there are also things that we all share. So we shouldn't be too afraid or too apprehensive about approaching somebody who might be a little bit different from who we are. Let's find out what makes them tick and what they like and what they don't like, and then we can be friends.
What is the method that the curriculum used to get that information out? Tell me a little bit about how Julia was created. Can you tell me a little bit behind what the thought was with the character?
Julia is a 4-year-old girl, and we the first thing we had to think about, or one of the first things we had to think about as a Muppet is she going to be a person? Is she going to be a monster? Is she going to be a boy? Is she going to be a girl? And we thought about it a lot, and we had lots of input from our advisors, and we decided that Julia should be a girl with autism because we are looking at her sort of as an ambassador for us. And she should represent lots of different things. And one of the things, of course, is sort of, a child with autism. But also, we wanted to highlight the fact that it's mostly boys who people see as having autism. So we wanted to really try to teach people that there are girls who have autism also. And so that's why we chose for her to be a girl. And we wanted people to be able to relate to her, both children and adults. And so we made her human, or human-like Muppet, a person Muppet. There are certain things about her outfit that might not be readily apparent, but it doesn't have any tags on it. There's things that children on the spectrum might be particularly sensitive to or find uncomfortable, and these are all things that we had asked about, or that people had commented on as we were creating her. Her hair is cut in a certain way, so the bangs are sort of above her eyes and not in them. And these were all things that, again, were very deliberate. The Muppeteer and the writer who wrote the first show both have a close connection with someone in their families who have autism. And that was something we were also very sensitive to. And not only because we knew that we would be asked about it, but we wanted people who could speak to it from a personal perspective.
I want to talk a little bit about the initiative and the website. Can you tell me from this character and from the initiative, what were the next steps?
This sort of goes back to the beginning. When we were first exploring the topic, we wanted to make sure with parents of children who were on the spectrum that what we were doing was agreeable. And they were thrilled that we were going to create an initiative around autism, but they also, again, unsolicited, said that their children just love technology. They're always on their the parents were saying they're always on my phone, they're always on the tablet. They would use it as a reward. A lot of the assistive technology, of course, that some of these children use is familiar to them, of course. So we deliberately wanted to create something that would be a platform, that would be on a platform that people could access and children can access electronically. So whether it's a laptop or a phone or an iPad, and something that they could access easily. So the website, one of the components, there are a few components to the website. The content on it is both child-directed and parent-directed. So there's stuff for parents as well as stuff for children. There are videos for parents, or that parents could view with their, well, we would like parents to view all of the content with their children, but there's videos that are for parents to watch mainly, and then there's videos for children to watch. there are various tips and strategies for both parents who are have a child with autism, but parents who don't have a child with autism. And the main goals of the website are reflective of the goals that we also have for the initiative. How do you raise awareness and understanding around autism, and what are some tools that we can create to make, I guess, the lives of parents who have kids with autism and kids who have autism a little less challenging for some of the things that they encounter every day. And those can be accessed now because we have a website that you can view anywhere. While you're shopping, at the playground, you can call it up. We really wanted people to be able to access it as they might need it, or as they might want to use it. So if, for example, you're at the playground and you see a child that you think is on the spectrum or might be behaving like they're on the spectrum, and your young preschooler is asking very openly, what is he doing? What is she doing? We can provide the resources for you to have an age-appropriate response. And it's much better to have an age-appropriate response than to not answer, or to say, let's not disturb that child. Because what happens then is the child makes their own answers. And a lot of the time the answers that they have for themselves and how they make sense of it is maybe not the best answer, and it might not promote acceptance and understand.
What does it do to have a resource and a tool readily available? What's the advantage? What's the outcome down the road?
Well, first of all, it's also very flexible to have a website, something digital. So we can add to it, and we're definitely going to add to it. As an actual tool for parents, it's very practical. For just when I was talking about the different types of content. So if you need to get a haircut, if you are going to a birthday party, it's not only children with autism who might be anxious about those things. It could be, lots of young children don't like that. But having something that you can take with you. So not just so you can prepare for it, but also, while you're going through it, is a really powerful tool. In the case of a haircut, they could actually use it while they're going through it. I think flexibility and being able to add to it as we create more resources makes the website a really wonderful resource.
It's my understanding you are studying the impact and how well the website is working. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're finding?
Yes. We are lucky enough to work with some great researchers who have been working with kids on the spectrum for a long time. Laura Anthony and Bruno Anthony. At the time when they started working with us, they were at the Center for Autism Spectrum Disorders and Georgetown University, their Child Development Center. What we're doing is we are asking parents, let me take a step back. Bruno and Laura are conducting a study with parents who have children with autism and parents who don't have children with autism about how they're using the site and whether the site is actually teaching them anything. Are the parents who don't have kids with autism, are they gaining knowledge about autism? For the parents who have a child on the spectrum, do they, as a result of using the website, do they feel like they're more engaged in their community? And the way they've set it up is they're recruiting parents of children who are on the spectrum through their various connections, either at clinics. They have an outreach coordinator who is contacting organizations in each of the 50 states to get parents who have a child 6 years and under to participate in the study, use the website, take a pre-test and a post-test to see if we can see any differences from before they're using the website to after they're using the website.
What have they found?
The data looks pretty promising. I mean, we are only asking them to use the website for a week to a month. And after that, we're finding that parents who do not have a child on the spectrum have increased their knowledge and understanding of autism. The parents of children who are on the spectrum, it seems like they're feeling less stressed, more engaged in their community, and they feel more confident as parents. So that's just a very short-term study. We don't know if that will extend out to further than that, but just with this limited set of resources over such a short period of time to see those results is really encouraging. And I think it really speaks to the power of using fun, engaging content that is really looking at autism from a strength-based perspective, not a deficit perspective, and how that really excites people to want to use the resources and learn more.
First, for parents with children on the spectrum, what are some of the things that they can take away from this website?
I think one of the things that, in terms of confidence in parenting, I think part of it is the routine cards, the daily routine cards that we have. And it's really just a tool to help their child through the daily routines that, again, all preschoolers might have trouble with. So whether it's going to bed, whether it's taking a bath or brushing your hair, brushing your teeth. So I think and that was typically one of the most favorite items on the website. So I think that's one thing that might have helped with parent confidence. And I think the other tips that we have for parents, and then this is for parents who don't have, we were created for parents who don't have a child on the spectrum, but it's an age-appropriate explanation for autism and age-appropriate things that you can do if you see a child with autism. And I think it empowered parents who have a child on the spectrum by giving them an explanation for other children that they and their child will encounter. And of course, for parents of kids who don't have autism, it gave them the words to explain to their child what was going on and what a child with autism, who a child with autism is, in a way that they also felt comfortable with. And when you have to explain something in simple terms to a child, you understand it better yourself.
For parents who have children who are not on the spectrum, can you give me some of those takeaway tips?
One of the things that we always emphasize is that parents know their child best. So it might be that your child asks you. Sometimes your child isn't asking you, but maybe you as a parent know that they are wondering. And you should feel confident that, if your child is wondering, that you can approach them with an explanation. And if they're noticing a difference, as I said before, then it really should be talked about. It should be discussed. You shouldn't leave it alone. So one of the things that we say is we talk about the brain, and that everybody has a brain, and your brain is the part of your body that sort of tells your other parts of the body what to do and feel. It tells your hands what to do, it helps you smell, it helps you see, and not everybody's brain works the same way. And sometimes people who have autism, their brain doesn't work the same way as everybody else's. Sometimes they don't like loud noises. Sometimes they might not talk to you right away when you ask them a question. Sometimes they might not look at you. And what are some of the things that your brain tells you? And what are some of the things that you like? Do you like loud noises? Or sometimes you like them. And so approach it in a way where you are explaining what's going on with the child with autism, and then sort of bring it back to what's going on with you. So that way, you're not only talking about differences, you're also talking about what's the same.
The website, can you give me the address?
Yes, it's autism.sesamestreet.org.
Is there anything I didn't ask you, David, that you want to make sure that people know or take away from this interview?
I guess the one thing that I'd like to, reemphasize is that Sesame Street, for all the initiatives and all the curricula that we develop, we really do try to emphasize that everybody is special and unique in their own way, and that even though that we're all different, we all share all the things that make us who we are as people. We all want to have friends. We all want to feel loved. We all like to play. And those are things that all children have. And autism just seemed like a natural initiative and topic that we would approach from that perspective. And that's something that we use when we approach any topic. And I would hope that parents and children who see somebody who might be a little different aren't afraid to talk to that other parent or go up to the child and see what they like to do and how they would like to play. So hopefully this initiative might help with that a little bit.
A little bit about your background. If you could tell me where you got your undergraduate degree, what your degree is in, any advanced degrees.
I did my undergraduate work in anthropology and education at University of Chicago. And I did graduate work at NYU, didn't receive a degree, but my focus there was on cross-cultural child development, continued my graduate studies there. And there was also a focus on media as a tool for data collection.